Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to our podcast, our early childhood education goals. Today, we want to take a few minutes to talk about some things that sits at the heart of what we do every day in early childhood education, which will be our goals. Not just the day-to-day plans, but the deeper goals that shape how our children grow, learn, and experience the world around them. So, starting off first, we are going to have Miss Aquila. She's going to give her three goals, and then she's going to tell us her main goal that she chose. Welcome, Miss Aquila.
Okay. So I have three goals. My first goal is I would like to support, develop, model, and teach children how to regulate their emotions by using Nani and Al's Pals, which is a teaching strategies component. My second goal that I would like to accomplish in my classroom is to encourage adventure, learning, and discovery through 6 week long studies. And my third goal is to help to bring resources to parents to help with learning. They might need help with curbing behaviors or um, with just learning experiences in their home. Okay. The first goal, my main important goal that I would like to talk about is supporting children so that they can express their emotions in a way that is acceptable or in a way that can be received positively. So I've been working with children for over 23 years, and I have found that when they come into the classroom, I work with 4 year olds. When they come into the classroom, emotions are is something that stands out, that they really need those words to communicate what they're trying to tell us. So they're full of emotions, and since they're only 4 years old, they've only been living for 48 months. And so it's hard for them to express those emotions. So my goal is to give them the words to create the situations in the classroom where they can model, we can model, and they can practice getting through those emotions. So um, some, like I said, some of them don't have the words. So um, just like us, they might have a hard time expressing that in an acceptable way. So as teachers, we have to give them those words. I have, oh, excuse me. I've seen a lot of books and a lot of programs that teach about character and emotions, such as Tucker Turtle, who is a little turtle that the children in my classroom can go to the quiet center if they're having a little bit of difficulty. They can go to the quiet center and they can talk to Tucker Turtle. Tucker Turtle has a story where he gets angry at one of his friends. So, and in the story, he works out what he's supposed to do. So, that's one way that we can teach children about their emotions by using Tucker Turtle. Um, but there's another program called Nani and Al's Pals. So, Al's Pals is a program that comes with puppets. And the puppets have a storyline. So they have Al and they have Tasha. Um, and there are things that happen to Al and Tasha at school, like a friend would not share. So in the story, Al is talking to the students and he's saying, so what should I do? So that gives them the opportunity to start thinking and doing problem solving or what they can do in order to share with their friend. If their friend is not sharing, should you just snatch it out their hand? No, you can ask them some questions. You can ask them, Um, so what can I say instead of snatching it? Because that might not make them feel good. So Al's Pals is a good teaching strategy component that helps children to think about their emotions and how they can express them and how they can get through a situation and come out with a good solution. Along with Al's Pals is Nani. Nani is really for the teachers. It is a program that sometimes there are difficult situations in your classroom that in the moment you might not know what to say or what to do because it's so intense. And so Nani has cards that will give you the words that you could say in that situation. Sometimes it's not ideal to do it while they're in that situation, but once you get them calm, once you get the child calmed down, then you might can look at the card and it'll give you an idea of some words to say to get them to redirect them into another uh, way of thinking. So those are the two, well, three programs that I think would help me to accomplish my goal of teaching children how to regulate their emotions, how to um, how to solve problems while they're in the classroom with their other friends.
I just have one question, Ms. Aquila. I wanted to know with your goal, your this particular goal, and partnering with your families, how can you teach your parents to reinforce emotional regulation skills at home? As even though you're teaching it to them at school, like what would you do, offer or suggest for parents,
Mhm.
kids go?
So a lot of times, we also have a program called Class Dojo, and through that I communicate with parents, and if they're having a difficult time, I can create a resource for them, such as a like a little short video on sharing or a little short video on um, academics or anything like that. So I share with the parents through that. I can also make videos on there of me and another child modeling what they can say or how it looks to um, speak respectfully or to solve a situation that might not be, something that you could be calm in.
Okay, Miss Serena, did you have any questions for Miss Aquila?
No, so you guys, um, no, I'm about to miss a little.
Okay, no problem. All right, next up we have Miss Serena. She's going to give her three goals and then her main goal. Welcome.
Well, hello, everyone. Um, my three goals were to just lost my thing. I wanted to support initiatives that bring learning opportunities to underserved neighborhoods. I wanted to create programs that help families actively participate in their child's learning. I wanted to also focus on supporting children's social and emotional development and helping them learning to express themselves in a healthy way. What am I? Sorry, you guys, my screen went down. The one that I am going to focus on will be I want to support initiatives that bring learning opportunities to underserved neighborhoods. I am a person that grew up in low income development. I am from this small town in South Carolina called Orangeburg. Is where South Carolina State University is. Then I moved to Chapel Hill when I was 9, which is completely different. I came from a place with no city buses. I came from a place where my grandmother and her friends were my great grandmother and her friends only had a sixth grade, seventh grade education, and looking over generations, looking at comparing the two, you start to notice that if we can catch it before we even have to try to fix the child, it sets us up for it sets us up for the better. And when I said go help underprivileged neighborhoods, I feel like it's not only about the kids. If I start a book club for the students or the children, I want to start one for the parents as well. I feel like our children mimic what we see at home. And yes, the teachers can do it for you, but it's only so much we can do. We can build these bonds, but usually we only have these kids for about 10 months and then they go on. So we need to make sure that we are hitting the foundation at home. So when we are no longer there with them, someone is able to fill in, someone is able to still support them. And as a parent myself, you want to do what's best for your child. That is always my motto. We might not like a parent's response, but I know that every parent is doing what they feel like is best for their child at that time. So I feel like if you give them the opportunity to those who want it, if we go to these underprivileged neighborhoods, if we can bridge the gap between the haves and the have nots, our kids will have a better opportunity. And when I say our kids, I am talking more so our brown kids, because those are the larger population when we talk about these underprivileged neighborhoods. But usually we are, like myself, first college graduate, first high school graduate. That is a normal thing in the Black community. And I feel like if we can bridge that gap, we could do wonderful things in education.
I just had a question just listening to you talk. I just wanted to know, like, what role do you think child care providers play beyond education, um, in the community, like such as emotional support and stability, like,
I work in a district that I can say is probably very privileged, but uh, I have seen my coworkers, I have seen my boss go above and beyond. And when I say above and beyond, I have seen them wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning 2 weeks ago and drive to Greensboro because no one was going to be at one of the students' swim meet. I have seen them pay bills out of their personal money because they understand the difference between a parent who's just not doing and a parent that is just falling short at the moment. I feel like we focus so much in the classroom, but if we step back and help the parents, then the parents can help the kids, and then we are not all doing it on our own. And I'm not saying pull money out your pocket at all, because that's not it. But listen and sometimes open the door to let them know I'm not judging. I just need to know what's the problem so we can fix it for you. Not so I can go tell the next person, not so we can snatch your kid, because that is one of the biggest fears that our community have. You know, we are raised, don't go to that school telling our business. You don't want those people in our business. But sometimes, and not in all cases, but sometimes there are people that really need to be in your business because they could help. And we need to help our parents. We need to help our parents just as much as we want to help the kids.
great. Okay. So on to the last person, which is me, Alicia. My three goals. My first goal was to strengthen social emotional development, promote equity and inclusive practices, and support play-based and inquiry-driven learning. Um, the goal I chose was support play-based and inquiry-driven learning. I have always worked in early childhood. I was a single mom. I had three kids. When I graduated from high school, I had two kids. One was 15 months old and one was five days old. And then I got pregnant again. So my last daughter and my son are 11 months, 11 minutes, 11 days apart. I was young. So it was just us. And I'm like, okay, so I got to figure out something that that'll allow me to go to work, be able to take my kids, and that's how I got into early childhood. I was able to I always worked at centers that I could take my kids, I could pick them up. Once they started school, they can go to the after school programs. When they got out of school, they can come to after school. Like I always did that up until 2017, 18. My youngest one graduated high school. And I'm like, well, that's it. I'm done working with folks' children. So I went into local government. And I am a people person. I love people. Um, and then I got into local government at the tax office. And then I'm like, I still like to work with people. Like, yeah, I was taking people's money. Like the town I live in, everybody knew me as the tax lady. And I'm like, I'm not the tax lady. Like, I'm just there to collect your money. So I end up going working with the Department of Social Services because I still wanted to be with the families because I've been on the other side of the table before, needing the food stamps, needing the Medicaid, needing the daycare, needing the assistance. And worked there and up until, so I worked there from 2019 up until 2022. And so one day my cousin called me and she was like, "You want a new job?" And I was working at the DSS in Wake County. And I worked with the child care part, like subsidized child care where you get the voucher. That job was kicking me down. Like you had to make sure your notes was, and they put you on a point system. And she was like, "You want a new job?" And I was like, "Girl, yes." And she was like, "All right, the job yours." And it was just kind of like the way the job fell into my lap. Like it's Smart Start. So I work at Smart Start. And it was still that I could still work with families and children. And I've always, as a teacher, I've always believed like children learn through play. I watch my kids grow up learning through play, playing with each other. I just feel like that learning through play and being able to explore, like, it's just best for the children. They can be actively engaged. They can be curious. They can explore their environment in the classroom where they are. I feel like play based. It encourages creativity. It's problem solving. It's critical thinking. They can have open-ended materials, and they can do child-led activities. I just feel that's why I chose that one. I just feel like, the teacher can guide the children, they can guide them, but just let them explore, just let them be, you know, I just feel like, and I guess for me, watching my children grow up now, having a grandson and a granddaughter, just playing, like they learn so much, they have so many questions. And that's why I chose, and that was when we did the philosophy, I chose learn through play. Like, they also can tackle their emotions through play. It's just so much that they can do. And I'm a playful person, so like even at work, I play all day long. Like first thing in the morning they come through, I'm like the loud way. Like I just play makes I feel like it makes the kids happy. I know they have to have instructional time. I'm not saying that at all. But I just think,
No, I agree with you. I really do agree with you. I do feel like people focus on people who do not understand childcare only see them playing.
mm-hmm.
They don't see that this kid is engaging. This kid is learning that this color is red. This kid is talking on the phone. They
Yes.
are learning. They're having motor skills. They don't understand how important these little things are. So I know you see playing, and at home we would have told them to go play, but here we understand that they're learning no matter if they're outside at grandma's house or they're on the playground at school. So all of this is developmental for them. They are learning, or they a parent never sat there and listened to a preschooler on the phone in centers because you will realize they learn so well. They are mimicking everything that you do from the hold the phone over to the side on the thing. They mimic you so much.
Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it matters, like because I read like the study showed that like play-based learning supports like their language development, their cognitive growth, and motivation. It helps them develop like a sense of independence and love for learning, like wanting to go to school, like because they know they're gonna
Yeah.
play. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I agree with that too. I think I put play based also as a way I would want to run my classroom. I know a lot of people, like you said, that come in your classroom, all they see is play. And then you come in my classroom, you might see chaos, but they're actually learning, like you say. They could be trying to see how much sand does it take to fill this up, like math. So yeah, it is a lot that you can learn from play base
I
and
think it's the fact
mimicking.
that people don't realize that that was math. So y'all, I'm married. I have a wife. I work in the school, and when my daughter was going through kindergarten, she over here. My wife is like, "So when are they doing math? Where's social studies?" I'm like, "I'm like, well, they just learned about the neighborhood." She like, "That's not social studies." Like, no, you're so used to government because that's what we
Yeah.
talk about. But no,
Yeah.
that's part of social studies. They need to know their community. You just think
Hmm.
bigger. Adults do not. They don't think about the smaller things because we are so far past that. We don't even think about the fact that we had to learn what community is because
Hmm.
it's just the norm to us now.
Yeah.
That is.
Um, well, as we wrap up, with our three important goals, I think together, like we all this create an environment where our children can feel safe, valued, and inspired to learn. So I think when we focus on all three of our areas of importance, we're not just preparing the children for kindergarten because this is early childhood. We're helping them shape confidence, being confident, compassion, and to continue to be curious individuals. So I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to join our podcast, and everyone have a great evening.
Thank you.